As we start the new year, I've been thinking a lot about Spartan Highlights, a project I started in high school and was likely what people know me most for. It got me thinking on what made this series so special to people, especially compared to videos I made later. This is what this video will be about: how Spartan Highlights came to be, why did it resonate with others, and what are my plans for video in the future. Alright, let's get into it. In 2012, I began dabbling in video, and in 2014, I began making video essays for school. However, I wouldn't be working on projects directly for Gates Childlight until 2015, when I was the student editor and close-up camera operator for Basket Wars, a Star Wars themed seniors versus faculty game, and the video was a success, and it opened up an opportunity from Coach Benham to cover the football team. And that opportunity led to the biggest project I've ever worked on. Now, I saw this project as a one-off thing, and thus named it Spartan Football, as I figured that's all it would be: football videos. Then Coach Amesbury showed up and said, "Hey, I want basketball covered too." And I was like, okay, cool, I get to continue doing this. Then baseball called, and hockey, and soccer, and I was literally being pulled from every single sport you can think of. The name was changed for obvious reasons. With so many new sports being added in 2017, I met up with Mr. Irving to figure out how to even schedule this, and I ended up covering 8 sports in total, which meant more diversity but less episodes per sport as well. Also, it wasn't uncommon for different sports to play simultaneously, and there only being one of me, so I could only cover so much. Also, there was this thing called school that I had to finish too, so there was that. The second season, however, I always had mixed opinions of, because with more content to cover, less time was spent on each one, and I always felt that some episodes were too rushed, especially spring sports, as they had the most cut episodes due to the fact that I was studying for exams. But yet, despite all of that, the series remained popular, and people kept speaking of its praises. I was even invited to the soccer banquet and given a special mention by the coach.
Without them, okay? They did an excellent job. Parents, thank you so much for everything. I want to thank the Whittier House too for having us tonight. One other guy is Anthony Wilson. I want to thank you too for everything you did.
Yeah, good job, Pete.
Yeah. If you didn't have a chance to catch any of the highlight reels that Anthony would do, they're actually really cool with some cool effects. We had some very classic interviews with Dustin bleeding from his nose a couple times after games. There's some really good ones. So if you get a chance, please, if you want to see the information, Anthony will give it to you. Definitely take a look at what he did. He put in some excellent work, and it really was a cool way to acknowledge some accomplishments these guys had this year. So thanks again.
That moment hit home how big the show became. The series would come to a close in 2018 with no real finale. I guess in a way this video kinda serves that. I remember so many athletes getting upset hearing the news, and a few even got mad at me for it. But it was time to move on. When I went to college, I worked on a rap video for a local artist and was a background dancer in another music video. But the atmosphere around Spartan Highlights felt so much bigger than anything I did afterwards. So I began to wonder, what about it made it so special?
I remember in the cafeteria for the first time when everyone started asking, who's the one filming our games and who's putting these highlight tapes together? It was Isaiah Brown and some of these other guys. And so that really helped. Those guys loved it right off the bat and helped to spread that word. And I know they appreciated the heck out of your efforts and seeing you at the games, and they started recognizing you down, on the sidelines and running around the track and everything. So that was a fun moment because the student athletes definitely appreciated seeing their work on the on TV or on the your highlight reels, and they began looking for them. They were like, all right, what's next? They wanted more.
We didn't really have that type of exposure for our student athletes at that time. And not many districts were really using YouTube to air highlight films either in 2016. So as you started getting better, and as you said, the editing started getting better, and the graphic, you started putting some graphics in too. People saw that it was getting better, and they were getting some more exposure. So people really got excited as you expanded to other sports too. And when I think about it, we're now filming. We've always filmed football, but we now have cameras in the field house. We're putting one in the middle school. We're putting one on the stadium, an unmanned camera that follows games and provides footage that ties right into YouTube that people can watch from home or watch remotely from across the country. It helped kind of springboard that, and people love the exposure, and you really kind of brought some character to it too. And like Mr. Hamill said, you were almost like another character on the sideline for football, for soccer, for basketball, for everything that you were really watching, and students got used to seeing you there, and they wanted to see you come. And I think it was easy for the student population and the staff to really kind of rally around you.
I mean, who doesn't like to see their highlights on TV?
Yeah.
And whether it's on a YouTube screen or whether it's on, NFL Films with Steve Sable, they got to see their highlights. It validated the hard work that they put in as a student athlete. It helped pump up Gates Chili. It helped build school spirit and camaraderie and all the things that we talk about, in the Spartan way. So you hit a lot of points there. But again, who doesn't want to see their cool plays, on screen? And some kids even use it for recruiting.
Yeah, and you know what's
Really?
funny? Yeah, and you know what's funny is I remember we started emailing her, and you started emailing the district. You would send them out, so staff got to see them. So it was getting more exposure than just a couple athletes noticing them. We started tweeting them out near the end. We started putting them on social media too. So it just expanded how many people could see it. And like what Mr. Hamill said is you were touching upon the highlights. Everyone loves to see them making a play. You weren't making blooper reels where we were dropping the ball or missing the shot or the ball goes between your legs. That would have been funny too. But, people were seeing in their best moments. Who doesn't love that?
Yep.
Watching Spartan highlights now is just that. Some crudely made sports highlights a high school kid put together. But the community around it, the excitement of watching highlights of games that otherwise would have seemed to be nothing but bad, and watching your friends commentate on games, it was more than just sports highlights, but in a way, life highlights. That is what made Spartan highlights so unique. So, what now? As many of you have noticed, my uploads have been more scarce since high school. A lot of life changes were happening since graduation. I work a full-time job now, which takes a lot of time away from creating, and I have more responsibilities. With that being said, however, I have been writing down ideas for potential short films and series that I would like to do. I've also been practicing my drawing skills and considering giving a blender a shot if I want to do more elaborate projects on a budget. I'm also preparing a dedicated recording area, so I haven't given up on making videos. But the videos I do end up making, I want them to be something that I can put my whole passion into, and something that will hopefully make a positive impact. Thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you all next time.